Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast via the Field of 68. I'm your host, Sam Lance, and I'm here with Jackson Bezdek, bright and early here on this Wednesday morning. And we got a lot to go over today, Bez. We got Shakeel Moore going down with an injury here, which will shake some things up for KUB ball as they start this season. We also have boot camp starting this week, so we're going to talk on that a little bit. Plus, a little quick recruiting update. Stay tuned with us, y'all. Episode 38 of The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast, coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to The Hum. We are now here to discuss the biggest news of the week, Jackson, for the Kansas Jayhawks. Shakeel Moore. He is down with a foot injury. He is out 6 to 8 weeks, suffering a broken foot that was sustained during a pickup game. What's just kind of your first reaction, Jackson? You're hearing this. What do you think it kind of means for the Jayhawks as we start this season?
Yeah, well, the first thing I thought of was this is not as big of a deal this year as it would have been last year, because I think Kansas now has the depth to kind of withstand an injury like this. It should only take them to right around the start of the season. So, I mean, maybe it doesn't even change their lineup at all. Maybe he gets healthy before the first game, and it's just how they've been rolling all summer. But even if he does have to miss the first couple games, I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. I mean, you just bring in Diggy Coit a couple weeks ago, right? So that's going to be the guy instead of Shakeel. And then when Shakeel's back, they'll both run it.
See, Bess, that was my first thought whenever I saw this. My mind just went straight to Diggy Coit. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest thing with this is now Diggy Coit is the backup guard.
Right.
Like there is no other really backup ball handler on this team right now. So I think that's actually kind of great for Kansas to have Diggy kind of be the guy here for a little bit and kind of really settle in because of course he was a pretty late addition here. Shakeel has been here for a lot of the summer. Just with that timeline, that 6 to 8 weeks timeline, 6 weeks would be returning at October 23rd ish. That's 6 weeks from today. That would be Big 12 Media Day, and the latter, the 8 weeks, would be returning the week of November 6th. And as you know, Kansas has two pretty
Right.
important games
Yeah.
after that date. They play UNC on November 8th at home, and then you got Michigan State in Atlanta 4 days later on the 12th, and then you have Oakland at home on November 16th. Getting him back for that stretch, if Shakeel Moore is able to be back for that stretch, I think it will be big because those two games, UNC Michigan State, are two of the biggest games of the season for Kansas. So having Shakeel Moore back for those would be big.
Yeah, having all the depth you can in general for those games are going to be tough. Even that Oakland game, you come out of those two probably dogfights. Who knows who's going to be 100% healthy? Oakland's a team who could sneak up and come get you. I mean, we saw what they did last year in the tournament, but that's a program that's been solid for a long time. So I think Self definitely wants him back by then. But like to go to your last point, I think this is great for Diggy. You know, just gets to campus. He gets here with the mindset of I got to compete for backup minutes. That's kind of it's not like where else is he going to go at that point? He was still in the portal in August, so this is probably the best option for him. But that's still a tough thing to come into. Now you can kind of okay. Now he can have a more solidified role for the next month or so as the backup guard. Shaquille's already been worked in, as you said. He's been there all summer. He kind of probably has his defined role right now. It sucks for him that he doesn't get to practice up until the start of the season. But for Diggy, this gives him a chance to run all of those backup point guard minutes in practice, really get familiar with his system, really get familiar with his teammates. So silver lining is this could be a very good opportunity for Diggy Coit to show us what's up.
Yeah, if there's any positive we can take away from this, I think that would be the positive. We kind of went over our rotation prediction a little bit last week, and like kind of like you said, like really this doesn't change much, like as far as the rotation goes. I mean, you still have what we think will be Harris, Zeke Mayo, AJ Storr, KJ Adams, Hunter Dickinson with that five. Now you got Rylan Griffin as that, kind of do it all six man. Diggy is now that backup guard. And then you got Clements and Flory. And really, I think Bez, another guy who's probably going to get more run because of this whole Shakeel Moore thing, is our guy, Rakis Passmore. So
Indeed.
I mean, I'm all for that. I don't know about you for Rakis getting a lot more early season run.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I've been Rakis is probably the most excited I am for a player coming into this year. He's the guy I found myself telling a bunch of people about up here in Ames. I get a lot of like, oh, how you guys gonna look this year? And I'm like, awesome. We're gonna be amazing again. It's like every year. And they're just like, well, who's coming off your bench? Because everyone's talking about the bench because everybody knows it was a problem last year. And I'm like, oh, we got this 5-star who I think he's gonna be really good. And like, oh, that Flory guy. And I'm like, no, I think it's gonna be Rakis Passmore, even though he wasn't really like a consensus 5-star. But I like bringing him up because I think he's gonna get more minutes than Flory as in terms of he plays a wing position. It's very easy to slide those guys in, especially as freshmen, because a lot of that can just be, hey, go play hard. Just go guard really tough and cut really hard, and you'll play 12 minutes and you're a freshman at KU. Like that's sometimes a little easier for 18, 19-year-olds to do. But I'm so with you. I think Rakis is going to have an awesome year. I think he's going to end up being the 7th or 8th man to come off the bench along with Rylan or Zeke or whoever ends up there. But I think, can he run some point, Sam? Rakis? Do you see him at all as a primary ball handler?
I don't know if that'll happen. I
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
don't think
that'll
so
happen.
either.
I think
Because
the Juan and Diggy got it pretty.
yeah. Well, I mean, shoot, you never know. Like, say Dewan is in foul trouble and Diggy is struggling. Where's Kansas going to go? Say Shaquille Moore's not healthy. That's a very
Zeke
like
Mayo.
you
Zeke Mayo running the
can bring
one.
the ball up, yeah. That's just man. There's so many options this year with so many different. You can pick out what if so and so gets hurt and they're in foul trouble. I mean, this Kansas roster is so much better than last year. We'll keep
Hey,
getting into it as we get closer,
let's just
but
kind of compare this to last year, Jackson. Like last year, if you lose, like let's say El Marco Jackson.
mhm. You would have to really hope Jamari's okay with playing a big amount of minutes for a long stretch of time. Jamari's fine doing that every once in a while, right? For a spark plug type of guy, but he's not like a consistent backup guard that's going to get you buckets and like create space for people. That's not his game at all. It would have been a disaster. It just would have been. Now this year, El Marco did go down, and now another guard that we got to replace El Marco went down, and they're still not a problem. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Going from no depth to depth, like we're seeing it already. We're seeing already what
It's
that could do. I mean,
the
golly.
roster difference, the turnover is unbelievable. I mean, to end last season the way it did, and not even that, like, it was one of the more underperforming Kansas teams for sure. But there was never even up until the second half of Gonzaga game, and we talked about this at the end of last year. There was always that little like, well, you never know, Final Four run, you never know. That was still there, and just to completely reload and feel 10 times better is only something that Kansas and Bill Self could do. To be Big 12 champs or right up there, and then to reload and get way better. There's only so much ceiling you can get to, but Bill seems to break it every year.
It does remind me of losing to USC and then the following year,
Oh yeah.
and that was obviously the natty season and kind of that sour taste in the mouth. It seems
Mm-hmm.
like Bill Self doesn't like to lose by like 20 plus points in the
No,
NCAA
ever.
tournament. I don't think Bill Self likes that. So
That embarrasses him. Like it embarrasses us. It's double for him. Everything that we feel is twice as bad for him. And the thing I like about that, Sam, is there were two guys on that USC team too. The team USC beats them. KJ Adams, Dewan Harris. They're still around. So they know what it's like to go from that type of embarrassment to the top of the mountain.
I believe KJ was actually freshman year the year following, but Dewan was around.
Dewan was there.
Dewan was around.
Dewan was around.
But yeah, guys, Shakeel Moore, he's down with that foot injury, 6 to 8 weeks. Really, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal because he does, come back pretty early in the season. He'll still have plenty of time to kind of get acclimated before Big 12 play. And as we know, that's when the grind
Right.
really starts. And it seems like Shakeel should be plenty healthy for then. We got a little bit more current KU basketball to talk about, and that is boot camp, Jackson. Boot camp
Ooh.
has started this week. Kansas basketball with a little post on it yesterday. I saw Rakis just looking like he was huffing and puffing out there. I mean, it's boot camp. For those who don't know, Jackson, what is boot camp? I think we should probably just go over that real quick,
Oh,
and we'll talk about it a little bit.
boot camp is Bill Self's dream world of conditioning. It's literally his favorite time of year. And it's 2 a days for the basketball team, just to like really simple it down. So they have 2 a days, but it's not your normal like you go 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., go to class, come back, maybe nap, a little 4 to 5:30 shoot around. Not Bill Self's 2 a days. We're starting at 5 a.m. and we're running until you throw up or cry or bleed, and then we're going to do it again, and then you're going to go to school, and then you're going to study, and then you're going to not nap, and then you're going to come right back, and I'm going to drill you until the sun goes down. That's what boot camp is. And it's my buddy Carter, he works for them, and he sent me the yearly 5:30 a.m. snap from the practice gym of literally all the guys sprinting at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, this is it. This is my favorite time of year. We're here. So that's what boot camp is.
I know obviously like Shakeel Moore, this isn't a thing, but I saw a post out there that was like, awfully convenient that Shakeel Moore
Yeah.
he breaks his foot, right before boot camp. That's
And he gets
awfully
back right as
convenient.
the season starts. It's like, I think I need like 4 or 6 weeks.
I
Yeah,
I
boot
do
camp is
I do think that is kind of a negative though, because if we've heard about it multiple times, like guys, I remember the Natty team talking about it, like they felt like they could get through anything because they all went
oh
through
my gosh.
camp. It's like we're
That's why he
tired.
does it.
And the fourth quarter against Texas Tech, Ochai, hitting that three and all that, he's like, well, in boot camp, we were way more tired than that.
Oh
So,
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it is kind of big that Shaquille's missing that, but you know, I think he'll still be fine. But boot camp, it's no joke. Like,
it's a great tradition. It's a great tradition. And that's why Bill does it. He's like, you are going to have fresh legs in the second half of the national championship game because I'm kicking your ass in August. Like, that's the whole point. Christian Brown, don't think he wins an NBA title without 3 years of boot camp. I'm serious. The transformation that he went through from coming in as a little scrawny Burlington, Kansas kid to now I'm going body to body with LeBron in the playoffs. That's very heavily boot camp and mental toughness and just like those Denver high altitude fourth quarter playoffs. Been playing 100 games all year, and CB's the only one out there. Seems like full energy. I mean, I was sitting there watching that, thinking about boot camp while Denver's winning a national title.
how easy do you think boot camp is now for a guy like DeJuan Harris, or do you think he's still just like, man, like
See,
another year of this?
that's so funny because I've always thought of that of like, oh, I bet the seniors they just roll in and know what to do. I don't know, man, because you've still had that whole off season. There's a different shape that you have to be in. Like, yeah, Bill's like working him hard in the summer, but I think it doesn't matter. I don't think. I think the only advantage you have is the mental prep of like you're 8 days away and you're like, these guys don't even know, but I'm getting ready now because I know it's about to happen. Rather than walking in at 5 a.m. the first day and you're like, oh, I wonder what we're gonna do today. And then 2 hours later, you're puking your guts out.
Yeah, boot camp, it's something, man. It's my favorite. I think it's my favorite Kansas basketball tradition. I mean, to be completely honest, I mean, I don't know really of any other program that has like a boot camp or like anything like that. Like
Right.
I'm not really around like very in depth a lot of other programs, so I could be wrong, but it's a good
It,
tradition. It
Yeah,
is
it
great.
does seem like it's a thing, right? Like I feel like we would have seen something on social media from like one of the other bigger schools if they had something similar to this. Because boot camp is something that like the social media team gets excited for, and it's a whole deal, it's a whole thing. So it's definitely unique in that aspect, and yeah, those are those first time next time we get a player on here, that's gonna be my first question. It's like, dude, give me your worst boot camp story.
Well, all right, y'all. We got a little recruiting tidbits to go through here before we go to the under four, where we'll talk about a little bit of KU football sad hawks there. Uh, College coaches, they're back on the road, Bezdek. We've kind of talked about this, I believe, last episode. They're now able to go out and see guys on the road. So that means Kansas's coaching staff, Bill Self assistants, they're out on the road going to see guys. What I've seen reported so far is Bill Self was in to see Darren Peterson and Nico Bundalo at Prolific Prep on Monday. So that's a big one. Obviously, Kansas looking to lock up DP. Nico Bundalo, I'm not so sure where he stands with KU right now. It's seeming like KU isn't as heavy with him, but you never know. You never know, like we say in high school recruiting. And then we also got Eric Rebe, some updates there. Really, the news about Rebe and his visit and how well it went, like dropped after we recorded last week. And
Mm,
there's a lot of chatter that Rebe is really enjoyed the Kansas visit and
okay.
is really thinking about being a Jayhawk here and might be one of the first to pop off the board. But he had a visit with UConn last weekend, the KU visit 2 weekends ago. But both Kansas and UConn were in to see him yesterday. Dan Hurley infamously coming to see him after the whole White House thing. I think it's going to be a battle for Rebe with UConn or with some of these other suitors. I think that'll be quite the battle, but Kansas wasn't to see him. And then last week, KU had a lot of assistants spread out. I believe they saw Nate Ament, Darren Peterson and Bundalo and Dybansta before his visit. And then Braden Burries and Caden Magwood, they reported to high school top recruits that assistants would be in to see them as well. Uh, One big one, Kansas, I don't believe was in for Jemison and haven't been in for Jemison lately. And I hear that recruitment is kind of trending away toward KU. So, that's kind of some news there. But I'm still in for the realistic dream class of Darren Peterson, Eric Rebe. I've been hearing some good buzz on Hudson Greer, and then we'll go Sebastian Williams Adams. And with that, I think KU goes guard in the portal.
Yeah, that would make sense there. Um, I think portal wise, I personally think that depends on the Flory Clements part this year is like, what do we really see from them? Because you need a successor for Hunter, and obviously, like Rebe has been talked about in that sense. But if Flory's really good this year off the bench, maybe they do go portal guard and just say, hey, Flory and Rebe, these are our guys. We're rolling with them. And then, maybe if they don't show a whole lot, you don't want to throw too much on Rebe freshman year. You probably got to go look big in the portal. But I think they got high hopes for Flory. And I think just keep on stacking the backcourt. Think about when you watch March in college basketball. It's always a little guard or a shooting guard or like a 6'7", 6'8" wing that stretches it. Those are the guys that go crazy and have huge outbursts and can single-handedly turn you games. Now, a guy like Drew Timme is really nice to have, like a good big, like a guy like Zach Edey, a really solid big. That's really nice to have. But
DJ Burns.
DJ Burns, man, what a beast. What a beast. But I mean, I forget who NC State's guard is. Oh my gosh. Their two guard. He was absolutely
DJ
electric.
Horn.
Horn. They don't get anywhere without him. So I think just the way that the college basketball landscape is moving. Shoot, we had Zach Edey for 4 years in the college basketball world, and he never won. This game is about guards. Donovan Clingan, awesome as UConn's, interior force. Cam Spencer is one of the best players off 2 feet I have maybe ever seen in college. Like, this is a guards league now, so keep stacking that backcourt, Bill.
Yeah. I think the thing with Rebe, Michael Swain, I watched like a little podcast that he did talking about Rebe, and he had a lot of clips that he kind of showed on just him, like, making shots from the outside, kind of like, I mean, really, it looked exactly like what Hunter Dickinson
No,
does.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
it looked exactly like it. And I don't think it would be crazy to pair Rebe with Flory. I mean,
I mean,
Flory
Flory's only 6'9".
Flory is like, if you think about the way Kansas is going to play this next year with Dickinson and KJ,
Right,
like Flory and Rebe is like a better prospect version of that.
right,
So
right.
could
Yeah,
be
I
pretty
guess
thick.
that's an interesting route to take, is talking about Flory as a potential KJ successor and in that role, because I think it just in terms of like raw basketball talent, it does kind of fit, but and I think Flory has a leg up on KJ there, but I don't know. We've just never Flory doesn't play like that in high school. So there's just I think he might be too offensive minded to be like KJ, but hey, the athleticism is off the charts both ways. It's absolutely there.
I just imagine Flory playing the four, like
Right. Like that's
and
kind of
and kind of
mhm.
I like kind of the way Self uses the four, has been using the four, with them being more of kind of like,
High post, short corner type deal. I
yeah,
like that too.
I like it. I like it. Uber athletic guy can switch. It's good
I
stuff.
mean, I think when we'll see lineups this year where AJ Store or Rylan Griffin's at the four, that stuff can still be unleashed and unlocked because those two guys, great decision makers and great athletes.
Yeah. Well, all right, y'all. That's really all we have for y'all. We will be back at the under four. I have a little announcement to make, and then we will talk very briefly some KU football. I took the trip to Illinois and came away a little disappointed. We'll kind of talk
Mm-hmm.
about that a little bit. Be back soon.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the year. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. The best part, all you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money to be eligible. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. BetMGM is going to have some fun offers available throughout the NBA playoffs. Bet insurance tokens, odds boost, and what I love, a nice parlay booster too from time to time, as well as a ridiculous array of player prop bets for any sport that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use the bonus code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share the YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hum. We are now here at the under four. And the first thing here is I have a little announcement to make. The Field of 68 has Mike Miller, Jeff Goodman, and all of my good friends there have allowed me to be on the daily newsletter this year. I will be writing on Thursday mornings will be my newsletter day. So I'm just super excited about that, super excited
Yes.
about the opportunity to work for the daily. And I'm going to be grinding tonight, Bez. It's going to be my
Look at that.
first grind here on the
First
daily.
one tomorrow.
So,
Tomorrow morning. First one.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. First one tomorrow morning. So
Everybody go read it.
make sure you subscribe to the daily.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody catch up with me on everything college basketball on Thursdays, and I will run the whole entire season. So obviously during the season, we'll be covering Wednesday night college basketball on Thursday morning. I'm going to be locked into college hoops on Wednesdays. I have nothing on my mind on Wednesday
Sure.
for the
Sure.
rest of until April. Nothing but college basketball on Wednesday. I love it. I love
That's
it.
pretty great. It's a good life to live, man. We don't have terrible lives we're living out here in the basketball world. It's an amazing place. So this will be fun for you. because this will really get you into the full college basketball world. Because as we all know, not a ton of Wednesday games for Kansas. So, I mean, I'm excited to see Sam Lance talk about what's New Hampshire up to, or had Vermont play last night, or is Santa Clara going to make a little Cinderella run? I need to know, Sam Lance. I need to know.
I got you, Bez.
Okay, good.
Got you.
Good.
All right, this last thing we want to talk about, KU football takes a loss to Illinois. We're just going to kind of go over it really fast, our thoughts. I was in Champaign. I saw the game with my own two eyes. And this is the first thing that I'll say about this whole ordeal. Going to Champaign, don't do it, because it was not. I mean, Kansas football has been really bad at football for years. And the game day atmosphere just on campus, even whenever we were a 0-win football team, was better than that. I will say. Like Champaign, I'm sorry, that was not where I wanted to be on a football game day. It just was not exciting. It just wasn't. Like the Champaign life, it wasn't great. And then during the game, why I think KU is just so off is because you come out to a sold out crowd and expect it to be, very intense, and it just wasn't. Like the crowd just wasn't. I mean, it's third down, and I remember I'm like looking behind. I'm like, guys, like I'm like egging on the Illinois fans. I'm like, come on, like let's go.
I haven't seen
Using
this.
that game, Jackson, is just so bad. It's just,
So you're taking the angle of Kansas lost because the crowd was so bad. The opposing crowd was so bad. They weren't even like ready for it. They were intimidated by the quietness of the Illini.
I don't know what I'm saying, Bez. It was just such a bad weekend that I'm just
fighting Illini.
talking.
I mean, yeah, that was a bad game, dude. It seemed weird through the TV. Like you're not seeing things. And I mean, you were there. A couple of my pledge class brothers were there. A couple other guys I knew from around the fraternity, around the J school went. I probably knew like 6 or 7 guys there. You all kind of said the same thing. It was like, this is not like a football day. Like the tailgating, not it. The whole just general like buzz, not there. So you're not seeing things, but I mean, Devin Neal needs to touch the ball 20 plus times every game. And I mean, dude, so watching through the TV, I'm sitting here, Kansas should be up by 4 touchdowns. Is that the same feeling you're getting at the game just because of like how much better?
This is what I just felt like. It was like, okay, like the game's going on. I'm just like, okay, like we're playing bad, but we can still win. And it was like that up until it's like, oh,
there's no more time
over.
left.
Like, oh no, like what?
No,
like it was like, oh no, we are trying to drive down the field right now to win the game. Like,
well, I think that says something to the play calling. Is like no one knows. It's like you keep running these screen passes and these draws and these bubbles, and it's like 2nd and 11 with a minute 42 left in the game. We're on Illinois side, or we're in our territory. Like, yeah, let's run another screen. It's like, yeah, if you're not really tuned into the game, you're gonna think there's middle of third quarter by the way the tempo of the offense is going. I mean, shoot, Jalen might be broken, and I don't know why there's no. Remember the UNLV game, dude? You're chucking that thing downfield all night. That was the most fun I've had watching a football game in years. And then I don't know. I don't know.
Even the Arkansas bowl game, like JD was spinning it. He was spinning it.
Thank you. Like, I'm glad a healthy Jalen Daniels is still one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. Like, I don't want to do this because it starts a whole thing of like, well, is Jalen healthy? Oh, no, we don't know if he's healthy. But I mean, you get a really bad back problem. It's not too crazy to think you'd lose some velo on your fastball. Like there's definitely an arm strength question mark around Jalen right now. And it was pretty evident on Saturday, but you give the ball to Devin Neal a few more times, give it to high shot a few more times. Kansas will beat UNLV by 21 and all will be back to normal.
Yeah. Just like that. All right, y'all. That's all we have for you today for this episode. We appreciate you guys for watching. That'll be it. For us, we'll be back next week. We're doing Wednesdays at 9 a.m. bright and early. So keep joining us, y'all. We're going to try to get some guests on. We're going to try to really get you guys some good content before the season starts. And hopefully we don't have to cover any more news like Shakeel Moore going
Facts.
down as we lead up to the season. But, stuff happens like that. And it seems like KU is going to be all right. So that's all that matters. That's all we got for you guys.